Texas. Welcome to KISS Community Connections at My KISS 1031. It's Phyllis Jones, your host, and I'm your guest too. Isn't that cool? Okay, first, before I start talking about the topic I'm going to talk about, last Saturday. Last Saturday, I want to thank everyone who came out to support us with doing the informational block party. I had 2 weeks to put this together, and the reason I had 2 weeks to put it together, one was a time frame, and two, after talking to a lot of the homeless and less fortunate and asking them what they need, not more so what they wanted, because I'm the kind of person, I want to help you long lasting. I don't want to help you necessarily for today. I mean, I don't mind helping you for today, but I would rather long lasting service rather than just feeding you every day. Although I do admire those who do feed them who feed less fortunate every day and the homeless. I admire you, because that needs to be done also. But I'm more so the one that's going to look, how can I teach you or help you feed yourself or get on your own feet? And after talking to a lot of the homeless and the less fortunate for these past couple of months, when I asked them what did they need, they gave me a whole different thing. They were saying they need to know what services are out there to help them move forward. Such as WIC, such as some of them we know have mental issues, and they don't know how to get to Cedar Crest or wherever they need to go. So what I did was, I'm like, all right, I looked at the time frame of a map of what's going on for the weekend of August, and I realized that August was a month of backpacks and back to school specials and the Caribbean Afro Festival. All these things are going on in the month of August. I'm like, well, forget it. I got 2 weeks to plan this. So I decided I could do it, and I did it. So last Saturday, we had all the agencies that offer services for the homeless and less fortunate. I did it in a block party style, only because to make it more fun. Because, going to table, getting information is good. It is all well and good. It's fantastic. But I wanted to add a little fun to it to make it more relaxing, to make it seem like this wasn't just for the homeless and less fortunate. And then, we're going to service you to death and nothing else. So I knew we needed food. Officer Kyle Moore worked with me to do this and with the Homeless Coalition. But we knew we had to have food. I knew he threw in a DJ. And a friend of mine, Melissa Brown, she got the game truck to come free. First of all, I must admit, I have no idea what a game truck is. I mean, I know it's a truck where you play games, but if I went, I'd be lost. So I thought it was cute. I was like, okay, we're doing this. So we started out. We started out at 9 o'clock, setting up tables and everything like that. And, the director of the shelter, because we did it on the street, the shelter zone, which is Sprout, Mr. Hall, he was like, well, Phyllis, if we get a few people here, we're okay. I was like, nope, not okay. No way. Not that. A few people just won't work. So as the people started coming, it started at 11 o'clock. So at 11 o'clock, people started rolling in. And the lady with the booth right next to me, excuse me, she was from the, I can't even talk, but Department of Aging. And she had a table full of stuff. And we were making counts from her because she had 200 bags. So we figure, I wanted to know when she was out of bags, and then we would know how many people had at least came through to see her. Well, it started 11, 12:30, she was out of bags. Okay, so it was over 200 people, and this is an hour and a half, and it became a party because we had music. Yes, we had food. We had some entertainment, which was the game truck. But, we made it more of a family type block party where you do get all those things. But the people who were there that are homeless and less fortunate, they got a chance to have some fun. I mean, they were eating, they were dancing. We had a passport card for them of all the agencies with pens. And, we were wanting them to do what we wanted it to be utilized correctly, but we never said how to utilize it. But it came out perfect because the people who came by, they got their passport book, they got a pen, and they actually went to see all the agencies and made appointments, got information. So providing them with a passport of who everybody was and what their agency did was an excellent idea. It wasn't mine. And once again, it was Melissa's. So I give kudos to Melissa for coming out with the passport idea because it came out to be great. But at the end of the day, we ended about 3. We had seen over 300 people. And I consider that a success for the first time doing this and it taking off on its own. And some people showed up because they stated that they knew me and they knew they better show up, which was cool. I'm like, okay, and that was also great because people just popped in. Also, I'll say about 2:00, taco truck pulls up, and I go over to him. I'm like, hey, everything here is free. He said, no, I got hot dogs. I started laughing because I'm thinking a taco truck with hot dogs, really? Okay, but he said there was no way this event was going to take place and he not be a part of it because he wanted to know how could he ever do anything. Well, this was the perfect time for him to say he did it, so he came out. Our chief of police came in on a motorcycle. We're like, you go, chief, with your motorcycle. And we put him on Facebook also, but he came out. But none of our city officials came. Mayor didn't come. 7 city council people, none of them showed up. None of them showed up, but the chief did. So we'll say the chief represented the city of Killeen at our block party. As you know, Mel's was there, and I think he had some fun too, because it was, what did you call it? It was a real old-fashioned block party. People dancing in the street, and that was fine. But the main part is that the people who are homeless and less fortunate who needed the information didn't feel like they were the targets of this whole event. They didn't feel like they were targeted, as boom, you're this, boom. They didn't feel that way, and we made sure they didn't feel that way. We had a church, they're giving out free T-shirts. They were brand new T-shirts too, but they were giving out T-shirts. People were doing all kinds of things. And I know one guy dropped off like 12 bags of clothes and food and all sorts of stuff. So we put up a table, and nicely, 2 of the homeless guys nicely told me to move and get out of the way because this was their block party and they were going to keep the table going, keep filling the table. I was like, cool, okay. And they were right. It was for them, but they felt that they needed to do something. So all in all, I want to thank everybody who came out, who did this. Mr. Hall, who's in charge of the center, nicely came up and told me he'll see me in 3 months. I was wondering, what did he mean by that? I was hoping he didn't mean what I thought, but he actually did. He wants us to do this 3 months from now. So at least I have a little more plan, and then I'll do it again because it was a success. To me, when something's a success, it means that you met the needs of the people that you needed to meet, and also let you know that you might have missed some people. Now, before it was over with, I went to all the vendors and I looked at their appointment sheets and their sign-in sheets, and they had a lot of people that were going to call them and contact them the following week. They had a lot of people who, wrote down details. The lady from Cedar Crest, she detailed to some who had mental illnesses and mental health illnesses and questions about their mental health. She wrote down a sketch for them how they would get all their services done, and some of them didn't even include Cedar Crest. But I like that because of the fact that even though it wasn't about Cedar Crest, it was about her helping people. She stood out to do it. The lady from the Department of Aging, she was so excited about it because she came from Temple, and she said this gave her an idea to do something in Temple, just like we did in Killeen. So I told her, let me know when she does it, and I could work with her and help her getting it done, and she will. But like I said, all the vendors were happy, the people were happy, but I want to thank everybody who supported me in doing this because everybody thought I was crazy because in 2 weeks, how could you do this? But to me, if it was something needed to be done, it needed to be done. And our next thing is I want to talk about one particular guy. We took a guy to the VA week before last, actually, because he hadn't been there in years. So we get there, and the guy typed his name in and let him know that he was dead. And he had died during the Gulf War. That's what they told him. They looking him dead in the face, you died during the Gulf War. Okay, well, obviously he's not dead because he's standing in front of you. Well, luckily, in a little Ziploc bag, he had all his papers with him. All of his military papers were in a little Ziploc bag. He opened them up, and in there was all his paperwork. He was medically discharged. They gave him a rating of 90%. Just think, during the Gulf War. After that, he got it. He also got a bunch of letters. For 1 year, he did get a check. Then they cut his check off. So then he contacted them again and let them know they cut his check off. After that, he got a bunch of letters telling him that he was starting to commit fraud because he was dead. He found a job during that time. He found a job. Something happened with the job and he didn't have it. So he ended up being homeless. So week before last, as I said, was the first time we got to meet him and took him up to the VA. Once they realized that they made a mistake, they let him know that they only go back 5 years now. forgiving you your what they owe you, but then they realized he was a separate case because they killed him. He didn't do it. The VA, well, the military killed him. They killed him on papers through some mistake, a nightmare, whatever. So they said his pay will retroactive back to after that year of the Gulf War. So that was good. It was bad because you looking at somebody and telling them that they're dead. But the good thing is he kept all of his paperwork. He kept it in a little Ziploc bag. He said because he knew that of all the things he needed, he should keep that. So he did have that with him. They watched him come in. He was limping really bad when he came in. And not only did they agree to help him, I think he became the honorary person that minute because they kept him. Kept him in the hospital. Said they're going to give him a physical. They'll also let him know that his case would go to the top only because it was their glitch and it wasn't his. He did nothing wrong. They did. They need to find out what happened all those years ago. I don't think they can because it was a long time ago during the Gulf War. So the good thing is I'm glad we got him there. And I'm also glad that he kept his paperwork. So everybody else, please keep all your paperwork because he had his. He had every piece of paper they've ever given him, including the letters that said he was committing fraud because he was dead. Which would be a shocking letter to get to, for somebody to tell you that you're doing that and you're you. But he kept them. And like I said to everybody else, keep your papers. Always do. Don't get rid of them. Don't throw them away because sometimes something can happen and you need them and you got rid of them. And I know a lot of service members who are retired right now who don't have them and don't know where they are and won't look for them until they might need them. But please keep your paperwork with you because what saved him was him keeping his paperwork, always having it with him because he knew that at a later date he would get that. And, amongst all the homeless and less fortunate, we did find some retirees who, for other reasons of whatever, had missed getting their benefits because they were homeless and didn't know how to attach the two together. But the lucky thing about the shelter is the shelter allows them to use that as their address, which is good about the shelter. So whether they actually get a chance to stay there that night or whatever, they are allowed to use the shelter as an address. So a lot of them are able to get some of their money because they are allowed to use the shelter as an address. And those that didn't know that, we informed them of that so that their need to have an address was met because the shelter also allows them to do so. And as we know, the shelter did open. And it was a good thing that it did. But as we know, the shelter does not house everybody. So I don't know if you know it or not, but at 3 o'clock, everybody's in line. That line is so long until it's, oh my gosh, but it's in line so they can try to get a place to sleep that night. Also, we found out that you have some people who will sign in and then later decide not to stay there. Well, guess what? They can never come back. That is a rule. So if you sign in and at 7 o'clock you're not in that door, you're out and you can't come back. We found that out through someone doing that and found out that they couldn't come back. Also, I know we hear that the shelter lets everybody out at 7 in the morning, and we think it's a terrible, horrible idea. And I did too for a minute. I was like, oh my gosh. So from 7 to 3, what do these people do? But the reason they do this is because they have to clean the shelter. They have to change all the bedding, wash them all, scrub it down. Because, not to say that people that are homeless or less fortunate or homeless actually have diseases or illnesses, but you don't know where you sat. Such as us, you'll say, I'll take a shower, got on clean clothes, and you end up with a virus. Well, the virus wasn't due to the fact that your clothes or your body or whatever. It had to do with where you were, what you were touching. You could have touched a doorknob or whatever, but either way it go, since the shelter knows people are out all day, no matter what the weather is, they're out. They're outside from that time. So it is shut down in order to get cleaned for the next group of people. And some people are lucky to get there every day. Some people are not, and they don't. So are people still feeding them? Yes, people are still feeding them every day. There's an organization, it's on Facebook, and you can go on there and find them there in Killeen, where they set up who's going to do feeding and all for the less fortunate. Because even though the shelter is open, you got to remember that they're from 7 till they get back in there that evening. They haven't eaten, so there are people who still feed them. And like I said, I commend them for that because they do need to be fed. But if you're out there and there's something you want to do for the people that's homeless and less fortunate, remember that, yes, they need food. So if you're the person that would like to feed them every day, please do so. If you're a person that would like to see them move forward, then do something to help them move forward, such as I did the informational block party, invited other organizations that could offer them a hand up and a hand out of situations they're in. So those things can be done. But you know what? Don't come up with something on your own, because think about it. If you've never been homeless, we won't know what they need. It's kind of hard to say they need this or that because we didn't know. You know, one time, women, we were bringing, we were bringing all kind of clothes, but we brought a lot of toiletries that make women smell good and all that. Because we're thinking, women, you want to smell good. One of the women said, no, they don't want to smell good. Not they don't want to smell bad, but they said the prettier they smell and all this like that, they're most likely to get raped because they're homeless and they're out there. We didn't think about that. You know, we're thinking we women, oh my gosh. Well, we were thinking wrong. Not as bad, but we weren't thinking correctly. We were thinking us and not them. So we were thinking about us. Yes, I want to be clean. I want to smell good. But we didn't realize that to them, that's not a good thing. You might sound really wild, but when she said it, I thought about it. I'm like, whoa, she's right. She's right. Oh my gosh. I didn't think about it. But now, like I said, that I did not know. Some of the people that are homeless, we have a bunch of them are SOs. And in case anybody doesn't know what an SO is, it's a sex offender. You have a lot of them out there, and finding a place for them is difficult because most people don't want a sex offender near them, by them, living near them or whatever. So finding them a place is difficult, and it's something that we didn't give up on it. We just realized that wasn't something we were going to be able to tackle and work on. But so that's what I want to say about last weekend. And also, like I said, if you want to help and know what you can do to help, ask them. Don't just think we have the right answer, because if we've never been there, we don't. Okay, now we're going to switch topics. We're going to talk to parents, grandparents, or foster parents, anybody that's in charge of children. School is coming. And that famous night of Meet the Teacher Night is coming quick. And you know, parents, we're going to talk about Meet the Teacher Night, because parents say something every year to their child's teacher, which is wrong. I know you're going to say, what possibly could you say? And I'm going to tell you. All right. For me to teach, first of all, parents, you need to know the advocate for their child is you. You're the first advocate for your child. You are the first. You are the first, and you're the best. You're the best because you know your child in and out. Now, you might not know that child that goes to school every day, because that kid that goes to school every day is 10 to 1 differently from the child you see every day, because they have to learn survival skills based on where they are. But basically, you are the advocate for the child. So when you go to Meet the Teacher Night, you must remember a couple of things. One, you don't know the teacher, and the teacher doesn't know you. You don't know this teacher. All you know is on the door of the school or email or whatever, this teacher is your child's teacher for the year. That's it. That's all you know. That's basically it, cut and dry. The teacher doesn't know your child either. All they know is this is a list of kids that's going to be in my room. So right now, your kid is a list of kids that's on this sheet that this teacher has. So they don't know you either. So there becomes a getting to know you period. Okay, so then we have all famous Meet the Teacher Night. Since you don't know the teacher, you don't know whether this is a good teacher, a bad teacher. You don't know if this teacher's a professional bully, because you do have teachers that bully. Believe you me, they do. Heck, we know they are, and they're in school. We work with them, but you do have teachers that bully. So let me tell you, parents, what you do to set your child up for failure. Some of what you do. You go in, you go meet the teacher, and hi, I'm Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. This is my child, whatever. And you will tell the parent, you tell the teacher, if he asks up, call you. You're going to handle it. You're going to take care of it when you get home. You don't mind, giving a couple of pops if they need it. But if your child acts up in class, let them know. No matter what it is, you want to know right then and there. Okay, so what you just did to the teacher who might be a bully is you've okayed the teacher to bully your child. Because now that teacher can bully your child and call you and say your child was acting out in class. Teachers, you're going to say your kid, you were acting out. Kids going to say, I wasn't, or she made me upset, or she did this and that. And you're going to and your child will be in trouble and the teacher wins, correct? Correct. So what you're doing is you're sitting in a circle. Because your child has to go to school every day with this teacher who's going to say, and believe me, teachers will say, I met your mother meet the teacher tonight, and she said that if you act up, I can call her and she'll take care of you. That's a weapon. It's a verbal weapon, but it's a weapon. And it's a weapon that you've allowed the teacher to use. You did, because you told her, him or her. You said it out of your lips. You said this to this parent, trying to be big or bad parent or whatever you're trying to be, but you said it. So you could be setting your child up for the whole year of a teacher, maybe, who's a bully, who's going to use exactly what you said. And I've heard teachers say that. I've heard people say that. Your mother told me. And the minute you hear that, you're like, oh, wow. And you can hear that. We heard it in the workroom. So you can tell what parent, what child's going to get leaned on if they have that certain teacher. You know who's going to get it. You know. Your child, because you singled them out. You're the parent. You said it. You singled your own child out. And if that teacher's a bully, you just said, go ahead. And your teacher, your kid going to get in trouble as much as possible because you gave the order and you told the teacher that they could bully your child, and they're going to call you. Your kid was this, your kid was that. And you're going to wonder all of a sudden why he having problems. It's maybe because you gave permission to the wrong teacher. So parents, when we meet the teacher night, these are some things you need to do. Parents, I'm saying foster parents, whatever parent goes to meet the teacher night, first of all, you do introduce yourself. Second, you need to find out what the rules of the teacher's classroom is. You want to know what the rules are. And you want to make sure that those rules are aligned with state's rules for a child's behavior activity. You want to find out what they are. You want to see the chart. If it says go to this first, go to that first, go to this first, you want to know exactly what those rules are. Second, your expectations. You expect, if your child's going to third grade, you expect them to be reading on a fourth grade level at the end of the year. You expect them to be halfway point by the end of the first semester. You have to come in stating those things. You tell the teacher tells you what they're going to be teaching, how they're going to be teaching it, but it's up to you, second parent, is to back it up by saying, this is what I want my child to learn. This is what I expect my child to have at the end of the year. Now you've given that teacher who told you what their expectations are. If yours is a little higher, now that teacher's got to realize that this is what you expect, not what you want. This is what you expect. So you expect your third grader, when they leave that classroom, you expect them to be reading on the fourth grade level. Tell the teacher that. You want your child, if your child's bilingual, you want them to speak so much English by the end of the school year or midpoint of the year. Writing, you want all those things done by, but you must tell the teacher that. You can't just let the teacher say, oh, we're going to learn this, we're going to listen. And you go, oh, okay, that's great. No, it's not. You need to come in there with a list of what you want your child to learn also. Now, nothing weird. You don't want, your third grader to learn Spanish at third grade, because they're not going to do that, or anything else. But the academic part, you want to make sure that you know what it is. Like I said, you also want to know what the school rules are, what that teacher's classroom rules are. You need to know them so you can go over it with your child and so that you will know it. I don't know if you know as a parent, but let's just say that there was a fight on the playground and the kid really did get hurt and your child was out there. You need to know that if the police come to the school, they talk to the principal and say, may I talk to this child? The principal has the right to say yes. And the police officer can talk to your child without calling you, because the minute your child enters the school, the principal's in charge. Remember that. When your child enters the school, the principal's in charge. Now, that kid can go talk to the police officer, and scaredly enough, they will say whatever they got to say. Or you can instruct your child to say, and you can have a note written to the school to say, if the police ever have to question my child, I want to be called first. You need to embed that into your child's head, and you need to send a letter to the school. Have it placed with the teacher, if the kid's home record. You want to put in their personnel file, and their little file they have at school. You want that in there. You want to make sure that if that happens, and like I said, you can't say it never will happen, because we don't know. School now is not, I'm not going to say it's not safe, but vicious things happen now in school. The little fight on Friday is over with. It's right now, and it's kids are kind of brutal. So remember, if the police have to question your child while your child's in school, they legally can. Now, do you have an option? Yes, like I said, write a letter. Instruct your child. And we need to really instruct your child. If the police ever come to school and have to talk to you, they need to say, I need my parent here. That's all they got to say. And they say nothing else. They got to learn their little bitty rights. Yes. So their rights are, I'm waiting. I need you to call my parent. And that's it. And once your child at whatever age says that, the police officer has to stop talking and go call your parent. I mean, they do. That's it. Case closed. It's done. Unfortunately, those are some of the things that we need to teach our children. Did we ever have to teach this before? No. Do we have to do it now? Yes, because too many things happen and our kids get caught up, or they see something, or they're with somebody who did it or whatever. And like I said, parents don't realize that because, parents go, what you doing talking to my kid? Because I can. I mean, the police officer can say, because I can. And what does that mean? The principal said so. Because when you, like I said again, when you send your child to school, as soon as they open that door and get into the school, they belong to the principal. So the principal has a right to say yes or no. Based on that, that's just it. They have a right. But like I said, your child's right is to say, I want my mother here, I want my father here, I want somebody here. But whoever you deem, you tell your child to say, I want my parent here. And that's it. They don't have to say nothing else. And nothing else. They can just sit there nicely and quietly and wait while someone shows up to sit with the child. So please instill that into your kid's head. Remind them of that, not daily, but as you teach them the safety of going to school, teach them that also. Unfortunately, we have to do that these days. It's bad that we do, and it's sad to say that that's what today is, but that is what today is. So parents, we're going back. Meet the teacher night. Remember, do not come out and play Mr. Bad or Mrs. Bad, and I'll tell him what my child is doing. I don't mind doing this. I'll do that. Don't do that. Don't talk to the teacher that way. Ask for the teacher's expectations. Ask the teacher what is she going to teach, or he or she going to teach your child, and then you give your expectations of where you want your child to end up at the end of the year, because now you've given the teacher a charge. Have a note with you in hand to tell the teacher, here's a letter. What's the letter saying? No one to speak to my child unless I'm here. Nobody is allowed to speak to my child unless I'm here. You give that to the teacher. Give it to the teacher. Give it to the office. Have it placed in your child's file, which is 3 letters, all saying the same thing. But take that with you on Meet the Teacher Night. So make sure that your teacher knows that. If you know your teacher has a problem, if you know your child has a problem in math or reading or whatever, let the teacher know at that point that you want tutoring for your child. Let her know then. Not 3 weeks into the school year, not when your kids receive this grade, you got, oh my God, I thought they got better. No. Tell the teacher now, my child needs assistance in reading. My child needs tutoring in math. My child's vision is not that good. Tell them get all that, because you're demanding those things then. Because remember, mom, dad, grandmom, whoever, you are the first advocate for that child. You are always the first advocate for your child. So when do you start advocating for your child? Day one. When is day one? Meet the teacher night. I don't care if you got to type up a letter for the teacher and give it to her or him doing Meet the Teacher. But by all means, set the standards. You set them. You set the standards. You find out, like I said before, what the teacher is going to teach your child. You want everything. I mean, everything. You want to know everything. And you also want to make sure that you do not allow the teacher any rights to bully your kid. I'm not saying that all teachers are bullies, but you do have them. So don't come in with the, let me know if they're doing bad, I'm going to get them when they get home. No. You tell the teacher, you might tell the teacher, I want you to email me every Friday, about how my child is doing. Not behavior-wise, but academically. You want to know how your child is doing. You can ask that. If you ask that, teachers have to do that. So you might want an accountability of their work, of their homework, of their whatever they're doing. You might want an accountability of it and hold the teacher accountable, because teachers are supposed to be held accountable along with parents. So like I said, advocate for your child. advocate for their learning, advocate for their well-being, advocate for all of it. But parents, your job. One, if your child's supposed to be in school at 8 o'clock, get them to school at 8 o'clock.